Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm really excited about today's episode. I'm joined by someone many of you will know from maybe Channel 4 News or TalkSport or maybe AFTV's Fourever podcast. It's Jordan. He's one of the most recognizable voices in Arsenal fan media, always bringing strong opinions and sharp insight, whether you agree with him or not. So today we're diving into everything Arsenal transfers, mentality, Arteta tactics, and what to expect this season. Thanks a lot for making the time, Jordan.
Thanks for having me, man. Glad to
Yeah,
be here.
always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Starting slowly but surely.
Good.
So, Jordan, I wanted to start a conversation. I mean, it's obviously we have less than two weeks until the Prem starts, right?
Mm.
What are your thoughts on the summer transfer window so far? Have Arsenal done enough?
In a word, no. If the objective is to win the league, which I think it is, then the answer is no. If the objective is to finish in the top four or maintain what we've done, then the answer is yes. We have done enough. But I think that the mission is to win the league. Is to lift the Premier League title come May next year. And so, do I think we are armed enough and tooled up enough to not only be competitive, but to actually, be the number one team come May? No, I don't think we are there. I don't think we're miles off it. I don't think we're far away from it. I don't think there's any wholesale changes that need to be made, any, massive numbers of ins and outs. But no, I don't think we're there yet. I think the business we've done so far this summer has been good. I think we've done some good business and for some good fees. I think Zubimendi for 50 million is a good fee for the quality of player. I think Gyökeres for 65 mil. I think for the fee for the player we're getting, that's good business. You've got Mosquera. I won't pretend to know a lot about Mosquera, but those that know more about and follow European leagues than me tell me that he is a guy that is being talked about in the way that Saliba was when we first signed him. It's like someone in 2 or 3 years' time, this guy could be the guy. So I think generally we've done, you've got Norgard in for 10 mil, or I think it's 12 mil as a squad player. Kepa, I'm not a big fan of, but for 5 mil as a backup keeper, it's a good deal. It's a good deal. Madueke, I'm not so sure about, but I'll get to him in a second. So in terms of values and fees, I think we've done very, very well. I just don't think we've moved the needle enough in terms of personnel to really make me think, yeah, we are tooled up, ready to go and win this league. Although I think winning the league this year is more than about Arsenal getting better players. I think there's a mentality and there's tactics that I'm concerned about just as much as personnel.
What would you like to see us signing in terms of position or player that could help us, make that final step?
Well, what I would like us to do now is too late. What I would have wanted us to do is sign Isac, right? That's the guy I think had we have made a move for Isac 6 weeks ago. I mean, unless the club were told categorically he is never going to come to you. I mean, I doubt that. But if that happened, fine. But if that didn't happen, I think if Arsenal had signed Alexander Isak, I would be a lot more confident and comfortable in this league. I think Gyökeres will score goals. I think he'll score goals. I think he'll score quite a few goals, right? I think he's a brilliant striker. But I don't think he's a needle mover. I don't think he's the guy that makes the difference. I think Gyökeres is a striker that keeps you competitive, second, third. I think Isak is a guy, the caliber of his finishes make me confident that in any game, against any defense, against any keeper, in any scenario, he has the quality and the temperament to deliver. So I think he's the guy I would have gone for. Now that ship has sailed. Gyökeres is at the club. He's my striker. I'll back him and I'll support him. But I'd be a liar if I said I'm excited by Gyökeres. Um, because I'm excited that we signed a striker. I'm excited that we signed a number 9. I'm not necessarily excited by Gyökeres. So look, he's our guy, and let's get behind him, and I'll support him. I'll shout his name. I want the guy to do well. I want him to bag lots of goals. So that's an example of something that I would have done that we can't change now. Now, what we can change is another issue for me is creativity. I still feel we're lacking creativity in the central areas in particular. And that's why the Eze links, and for what it's worth, I think the Eze deal will happen. It might be a late window deal, but I think we will sign Eberechi Eze. I think that will get done. If it doesn't get done, then I'm concerned because I do feel there's a lack of creativity in this squad overall. You can chat about Saka is good. Odegaard needs to have a better season this year. Set pieces and counters, of which we're not great on counter attacks anyway. I don't know where the goals come from. So creativity, I think, is an area that I would definitely look to improve on. And Eze is the guy that I would look to do it if he's playing as a 10 rather than playing wide. And then finally, playing wide on the left, I would upgrade there. I've said for 2 seasons, I would have sold Martinelli. I know the fan base love Martinelli. They love Martinelli. The guy, he's a good player. He's got lots of qualities. When he first broke onto the scene, I thought he was going to be the guy that was going to be the new Sanchez, the new Suarez, that tenacious, I'm going to bulldoze my way through you. I'm going to get a goal. I'm quick. I'm strong. I'm relentless. Everything I've got in my toolbox, I am going to score. We've not seen that for 2 years. And at what point did the fan base have to open their eyes and decide that you can't, on one hand, demand that this is the year Arteta wins a title? This is the year. This got to be this year. It's got to be this year. But in the same hand, you're giving Martinelli passes and you're saying, oh no, it's a bad run of form. It's 2 years. And all right, there's been injuries in that period. There's been injuries there, but it's still 2 years. So at what point do you hold him accountable and accept he's a good player? He's a very good player, but is he the guy on the left that wins you a title?
Yeah,
So I'd upgrade there as well.
Jordan, it's I feel you. I understand. I'm a little bit on the love side for Martinelli, and the reason why I think it's the love story. 18-year-old Brazilian kid. You want him to do well. We've paid like 6 million for him, but I think I have to be real, and looking at the past 2 seasons and what he's shown in preseason, it's not very encouraging. So maybe I heard something of some offers for him, and Arsenal said no, he's not for sale. But who knows? I mean, at this point, it's just rumors. But there's 2 things that I want to mention, and in the same question. So you said that you would have rather had Isac if the possibility would have arrived, but
yeah.
Are you not worried about Isac's injury kind of record? I know he doesn't have like a huge injury record, but maybe a little bit. And the second thing, which comes kind of together, if we've signed all the players, right, that we already know. Let's say we signed Eze and Liverpool signed Isac. Are we still above them in order to clinch the Premier League title, or do you think if they get Isac, they get 1 or 2 levels above, even if we sign Eze?
Good question. Well, I think even if we sign Eze and they don't sign Isac, I think Liverpool are still favourites for the title.
Okay.
So I think that they have the overall better squad. Even if we bring in Eze and they don't bring in Isac, if they bring in Isac, then they're definitely the better squad.
Okay.
Because if they buy Isac, they then, for me, have the best centre forward in the country, the best defender in the country, the best goalkeeper in the country. and the best right winger in the country.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're the best in the country in 4 areas. Um, that in terms of personnel, you're pretty strong in a good position with that thing. With regards to his injury record, I mean, I don't understand this injury. He's had injuries during his career for sure,
Yeah.
but I would spin it and say, if a guy that I think 2 years ago he missed like a third of the season, it's quite a big chunk of the season, right? If a guy, I think that year, I'm pretty sure he scored 13 goals in the league that year. If a guy can score 13 goals, missing a third of the season,
That's pretty good, huh?
I know certain strikers that can't score 13 goals with a full season.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, if I don't believe that he's injury prone, as some people would say,
Yeah.
but he has had some injuries through his career for sure. That's undeniable. I'm not going to deny that. But I just feel that even if you only get 80% of the games from Isac, I still think he scores the crucial goals and the amount of goals needed to put you in a position whereby you're the team to be. Now, look, he might go to Liverpool. Someone said to me, it was a masseuse was saying to me the other day, a sports masseuse, a friend of mine, that the problem that Isak has is that because he's so tall, he's got long legs.
Yeah.
But for someone with long legs, he's very fast. He pulls. That's why he gets so many injuries. A lot of his injuries are like hamstrings, his glutes. A lot of them are muscle injuries in the legs, in the leg area. They're not groins. They're not ankles. It's the muscles in his legs because he's got a very very fast running style for somebody who's quite tall. So the guy put it to me: if Usain Bolt was a professional football player, he would always break down because you're not supposed to be that fast and that tall. Now, over 100 meters is fine. Over 100 meters sprint, you can be that fast and tall and it's fine. But for 90 minutes running around when you're that tall and you're that fast, the pressure on your muscles. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I actually predict that he will have spells out this season injured. I think he will have injury issues. But like I said, my first point, if he gives us out of 38 Premier League games, if we get 25 out of 38 and he's still giving me 15 goals, I have good faith that those 15 goals, some of those goals will be winners. They'll be in the games where we struggled last year against the likes of Fulham at home and away, Everton at home 0-0, West Ham I think at home they beat us. In those games where it's a low block and you need your striker to be the difference, I believe he's the sort of striker that would make the difference. So I'm not really interested in Gyökeres or Isac scoring 40 goals. I hear this, Gyökeres can score 30 goals, 30 goals. You can score 30 goals, but they could all be they could be redundant goals. I need the goals that matter.
Yeah.
Are you scoring the first goal in the game? Are you scoring the goal that wins the game? Are you scoring the goal in a game where the team, Arsenal, aren't playing very, very well, but bang, one chance, you've nicked 3 points because you've got that guy in your team. That's what Isak is. We were awful today, but just that half chance, he ain't having it. He's in the back door. So that's the reason why I think he's a level above Gyökeres. Now people say, international level Sweden, Gyökeres starts, Isak plays on the left. I don't care about Sweden. So
Yeah.
them kind of stats to me that I don't care. But to answer your question, I don't have concerns about his injury record, but I'll also spin it and say, even if you do believe he's injury prone, his numbers are still pretty good.
For an injury prone player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like presumably because, as you said, because he has that physique, he might be more inclined to muscular injuries and so on. So
But you have to manage that. Maybe Newcastle can't take him off in games or can't not play him because they have to. He's the main guy. They haven't got adequate backup. Whereas at Arsenal, you might decide one game. All right, there's 3 games this week. You're going to play 1.5. Okay. Because we know we can put in Havertz for 1 game. We know Jesus maybe we can put in Jesus for 1 game. Do you know what I mean? So we can manage that injury, and maybe he hasn't got to play every single game. Whereas for Newcastle, you'll see it for Liverpool. I bet you for Liverpool, there's lots of games he won't start. Lots of games he won't start. I promise you.
Yeah. In regards to the Asia preseason tour, I don't know how much you read into it because obviously a lot of, getting back up to speed and whatever else. But did you find something interesting in preseason?
Well, I only saw like highlights and clips. I deliberately this summer kind of plugged out from football a little bit. So I didn't watch a lot of football this summer, just generally, unless it was for work. Um, so I only saw like highlights and goals and clips. From all accounts, from people that I know that were out in Asia, and I'm going to the game. I'm working at the game tomorrow. I don't know when this comes out, but tomorrow Arsenal playing Villarreal.
Villarreal,
Emirates
yeah.
Cup. So I'm going to that. But friends of mine that went to Asia said that they weren't overly impressed with the tour. Look, preseason for me is for three reasons: fitness and sharpness, experiment and try things out, and chemistry. It's those three things. In fact, I probably even had a fourth: standards. That's your chance in the summer preseason to implement standards and expectations. This is the time where I'm letting you guys know this is what I expect for the next 9 months. We are going to stay up, or we're going to finish top half, or we're going to finish top four, or we're going to win the whatever your level is, whatever club you're at. It's setting those foundations of what the target is. And for Arsenal, for me, it's fitness and sharpness, trying out new tactics and new lineups, um, standards and expectations, and chemistry building. Building
Yeah.
the we've got a lot of new players, and I don't think it's important that you like your teammates, but I think it helps. I think it helps, and that's why I wanted Gyökeres in a bit earlier if he was coming, because I think the sooner you can get him in, strikers are a very important part of the squad, and Arsenal players must know they need a striker. So if you can get Gyökeres in like 2 3 weeks earlier, just that bond that he gets with Saka and Odegaard and Martinelli and Trossard and the front men, just that chemistry. Um, I don't think it wins you a league, but I don't think it hurts.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't look too much at the results in preseason for me, unless you're getting beat 5-0 every game. I, preseason results for me, I don't take too much notice of. I look at what are we doing? What's the boss trying to do this season? Are we playing a high line? Or are we playing a bit deeper? Are we pressing or are we sitting off? Are we going wide or are we playing through the middle? Are we counter-attacking, going over the top, or are we in possession? I'm looking at, do you know what I mean? Combinations. Who's linking up well together? Who looks sharp? That's what I look at for preseason. I don't really care about results. And even if we'd have won every single game, I'll tell you, I don't care about winning preseason games and preseason cups. I don't care. That's for commercial reasons. What I care about is, are the players fit? Are standards being set? And is the boss experimenting and trying new things?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you could see that they were not, at 100% they were getting there, but as for trying, maybe some chemistry between some players, but my personal opinion is I didn't see too much
Mm.
in tryout. It was just like similar things, you know. Um, if it would be to choose one, let's say, trait or characteristic of Arteta that stops him from winning a title, is he too emotional, too intense, or too stubborn to win a title? What do you think?
The third, I
Too
think
stubborn.
I think he's very emotional, but I don't think that's what will stop him winning the title. He's very intense, but I like that. I like that. Um, well, I say I like that. I'm thinking about intense managers that have won titles before. You think about Guardiola, you think about Klopp, you think about Mourinho, um, and I wonder if the intensity only lasts for so long. And I think the problem on this point of intensity that Mikel Arteta might have, which is why it's a really big season for him, is that players will accept you being really intense. Every day we're at 100. Every day it's full on. Every day we're going at it. Every day there's no rest. Players will accept that if they're winning. They're winning titles and winning cups and getting to finals on a regular basis. They can put up with okay, we go again. After a while, that burns out. And I think at Man City, I know they've brought in a few new players, but I wonder if if the Pep intensity might starting to kind of be a bit of a downside, a bit of a negative for them. But we'll see. But generally, intensity I think is fine. You just have to make sure that you couple it with it being fun and with you winning things. Players, if you're intense but you're not winning anything, it's like, well, this is really hard work and there's no fun here. That's when I think has got a problem. But I think the bigger issue is the third one. It was the
Stubbornness.
it was the stubbornness. And I mean stubbornness in turn. I think stubbornness is not necessarily a bad thing. Being stubborn is not always a bad thing, right? And I think to be a top manager, you have to have an element of being stubborn. But I think his stubbornness to be flexible in the tactics. This is the biggest thing I think we're going to see this year, that I need to see this year. And this is what I'm hearing, and it's not good, from my friends who are out in Asia. It's his ability to change tactically. I don't think we need wholesale tactical changes, but I think he has to tweak certain things for sure. Because there'll be games, we'll be talking in 6 months' time, and there'll be another Fulham game where we know half the league, when it comes to Emirates, they're going to bank in. They're just going to bank in and say, come and break us down. Come and break us down. And we showed too many times last season, we don't have that little bit of guile. And someone like Eze, or even Gyökeres, to be fair, might be the difference in those scenarios. But we saw, how many games last year did we see where we just couldn't break teams down? We didn't have an answer for the block, unless you've got a Salah or a De Bruyne, someone that could just do magic like that. You need tactically someone that knows, right, they're doing this, so we've now got to do that, and I've got the personnel to do it. So I think his stubbornness to tweak his tactics, I think may be a problem. He's got a couple of new coaches. I saw Gabriel Hines is on his coaching staff now. I like that. I think you need new voices. You need new ideas. You need new people to see things that you can't see. You need to be challenged. You need people. You need coaches that tell you, boss, not sure about that one. Not sure about that one, boss. You need that. So I like that he's tweaked his coaching lineup a little bit as well. But I think the thing that might end up stopping him in winning the league will be his stubbornness on not being a bit more tactical not being tactically flexible enough.
Yeah, and you're right. Sometimes you just need someone to put a doubt in your mind. Hey, this idea might not be the best. This might not work. Let's think of something else. And you might come up with something new, with something fresh, with something different. But in regards to his stubbornness, because I think that's where I should put this. I know you're not necessarily sold on Havertz in this Arsenal system, right? He's clearly a big part of Arteta's plans, right? He's the highest earner and he's not leaving anywhere. So what do you think his role is this season, and if he can deliver?
Well, I think you're right. I think he's a big part of Arteta's plan. So much so, I think he will start the first game of the season. I don't think Gyökeres starts. I think Havertz starts up front at Old Trafford.
Seriously?
I think he will. I think he will.
Oh.
I think he will. Before I answer the question, though, are you a big fan of Kai Havertz?
I'm not 100% against him. Like, I don't think he's a bad player. I just think Arsenal need something extra. I don't think they can win the league title or a major trophy with Havertz playing week in, week out. I think he can have some moments, but last season, before his injury, he had some really frustrating moments of not scoring some pretty decent chances and everything else. And, he's an intelligent player, in my opinion, but he's just, I don't know, maybe he has something that je ne sais quoi that is not best for Arsenal, So I think, let's say, if we bring Eze in, he's a maverick. He can decide to do something different. With Havertz, his link-up play is decent. He's intelligent. He gets in the right positions, but he's missing something. He's missing a little bit of edge, I think.
I probably agree with everything you just said there. I'm not his biggest fan, but I think he's a very good player with talents and skills.
Yeah,
I think he does have weapons that can help this squad. But like you said, I just don't think he's the guy you can lead your attack. I don't think you win a title with Kai Havertz leading your attack. He's not that guy. He's not clinical enough. But I think what he does helps the overall play. I just feel that Gyökeres hopefully will be the guy. And I thought it was quite telling in Gyökeres, slight aside here, I thought it was quite telling in Gyökeres' first interview with the in-house Arsenal team, where he was asked, I think it was a quick fire round, and they asked him, would you prefer to score a hat trick or a last minute winner? And he said, I like a hat trick,
yeah.
which
Saw that.
surprised me. And
Me as well.
I don't know if I liked that answer.
Yeah,
But what it tells us is that this is a guy, like most strikers, he lives for goals.
yeah,
He lives for goals, right? And he won't be interested in, oh, I hope not, linking up play and dropping deep and affecting the overall attack. His interest is put the effing ball in the box. I'm going to score. Put the ball in and around the 6-yard box. I'm getting shots off. I'm hitting the target. And that's a good thing, right? That's a predator. That's a killer. That's a bagsman. That's fine. Kai Havertz is not a bagsman. Kai Havertz wants to affect the play, support the attack, help his teammates. Again, all laudable things to want to do, but I just think that you have to be when we're not getting goals as we were last year from the likes of Martinelli and the likes of Odegaard and Saka being out for 3 months, bro. You got to get the goals. You need to get the goals. So I wouldn't say I'm his biggest fan, but I think he's a very intelligent football player. I think he has strengths. I just don't think he's the guy to rely on to win a title. But like I said at the start, I don't think Gyökeres is that guy either. But we'll see.
we'll see this season. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Just two quick questions about social media. You've obviously built some platforms across TV, YouTube, some podcasts. If you are starting an Arsenal podcast from scratch today, half past the second semester of 2025, what would you do first?
If I was starting an Arsenal podcast today,
yeah,
wow. Well, the Arsenal fan podcast market is very, 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 very busy.
Yeah,
it's a very saturated market.
Yeah.
There are many Arsenal fan podcasts out there. So my first thing would be to try and find a niche. I would try and find, okay, what is it that I can talk about on my Arsenal podcast that's not been spoken about on every other podcast? I think doing review and preview shows, and that's fine, but everyone does that. So unless you can bring Ian Wright on or Thierry Henry on and get some big names on, I don't know how much cut through you're going to get with that sort of Arsenal podcast. So I would first of all try and work out what is it that I think I can say that's not being said already. How can I give value to listeners? How can I tell them something that they don't already know or can't hear it from another podcast? So I think I would find an area of talking points that currently isn't being spoken about. Because I don't think there's a bigger population on YouTube, on podcast platforms than Arsenal fans.
Yeah.
So you're competing against a lot of other people, some of whom have got massive platforms already. So you're playing catch up. So what makes you different? If I'm an Arsenal fan and I see your podcast on my feed, why do I stop listening to your podcast rather than listening to her podcast over there? That's the thing I would first of all work out.
That's really good advice. I'm still working on Thierry Henry and Ian Wright.
Good.
It's still work in progress. But, I've had some great guests on the podcast, like Andrew from Arsblog and Ethan Navarro, who scored at the Emirates before Gyökeres. It's still pretty low views. From your perspective, what makes a podcast episode actually worth sharing or watching in today's landscape?
The characters and the people that you have on. Like any other piece of content, whether it's television, radio, podcast, YouTube, movies. Think of there are many reasons people watch movies. or TV programs or listen to the radio, a certain show or a podcast. Many reasons, right? It might be the cinematography. It might be the storyline. It might be the subject. It might be the quality of how the podcast is shot. Many reasons, right? But fundamentally, one of the top two reasons that I would hazard a guess everybody is drawn to their favorite show or their favorite podcast is the people on it. I watch this program because I like him. I like her. I like them, their chemistry, right? So my advice would be give the audience you. Whatever you are, if you're naturally a funny person, show us that. If you're naturally antagonistic, show us that. If you're naturally provocative, show us that. If you're naturally inquisitive and intelligent, show us that. Whatever is you, show that character, to let that come through in your Arsenal passion. I think you people are drawn to people. Think of all the best programs. Give me 2 programs that you watch or shows that you love.
And you'll ask me why.
It's because of the people.
I have to go. Yeah. You're absolutely
do you know what
right.
I mean? And the second thing is passion. People like watching sports and like watching people talk about sports because they want to know the person they're watching is as passionate as they are. If I'm watching an Arsenal fan podcast, I love Arsenal. I'm crazy about Arsenal. I need to know and see that you're passionate about that as well. You've got to reflect that enthusiasm, energy, ideas. But you got to be this guy who loves Arsenal more than me, and I love Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? So you got to really show the audience, not just be passionate. You got to show passion.
Yeah, you're right.
That'd be my advice.
Thanks for sharing, Jordan. That's amazing advice, and I hope everybody who listens takes note out of that. To getting close to the end now, just want to do a quick fire round. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure,
quick
man.
answers.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So Noni Madueke came in with a pretty significant price tag. Do you think he'll make an immediate impact this season, or does he still need some time to settle in or adapt or whatever else?
So I'll try and be quick. It's a quick fire round. First of all, I think we need to get our heads, and we being Arsenal fans, get our heads around the idea that £50 million for a player that might be on the bench isn't actually abnormal for teams that win titles. Jack Grealish is £100 million player. He's not a guaranteed starter. In fact, he's going. Liverpool have got Darwin Núñez, £75 million player, doesn't start for Liverpool. That squad depth they've got means you're going to have a few players on your bench that cost big fees. So the first thing I would say is £50 million for potentially a bench player a lot? Not really. When you look at the teams, look who's winning titles. They've got players off the bench that are coming on for mad fees. However, and I said this morning on Fourever Arsenal when we recorded, I'm predicting that after 15 games, if we don't buy a left winger in this window, I'm predicting that after 15 games, Noni Madueke will be the starting left winger. He'll take that spot. Not because I think he's particularly amazing, but 2, I think Martinelli and Trossard aren't showing enough to grab that shirt. But I also think there's a stat I saw a couple of weeks ago that said Arsenal recover the ball or win the ball back. I think we're second in the league for balls recovered in the final third, right? And I just wonder if signing Madueke and Gyökeres is to help with that. We win the ball back a lot of times in the final third, but our conversion, I think we were like 15th.
Yeah,
it was awful. So we win the ball back in their area, right up in their grill, but then we don't convert. And I just wonder if having someone like Madueke and Gyökeres who are very direct, unlike Havertz and Martinelli, Madueke and Gyökeres are very direct. When you win the ball back that high up the pitch, yeah, you direct. You ain't got time to pass, go back, retain the ball. No, you won the ball back. Now finish it. 2 more passes and the ball should be in the back of the net. So I wonder if Madueke might find his way into this 11 on the left within 15 games because I'm not a big fan of his, but I'm starting to see the possible reasons why we signed him. He's a better ball carrier than Martinelli, Trossard,
yeah.
probably every attacker, probably bar Saka. Apart from Saka, he's probably our best ball carrier. Do you know what I mean? So I wonder if that is the reason we've signed him.
Okay. Havertz, starter or super sub?
I think he should be off the bench, but I also think it should be on merit. If Havertz starts the season as I predict and scores 5 goals in 4 games, leave him there. I think it also might depend on, and this goes back to my point about Arteta tactically, who are you playing? Some games might require a Gyökeres, some games might require a Havertz. So I think it depends on who you're playing and also who's on form.
Do you think he'll start against Man United?
I think he will. I think he will.
Who is the bigger threat at the title this season? Is it Liverpool, City, or Chelsea?
No, it's Liverpool. I mean, Chelsea, I'll get Chelsea in a second. I think Liverpool have, I think the only reason I can probably put up as to why Liverpool won't win the title, the only reason is that I wonder if the pressure on year 2 for Slot might be something that throws him off a little bit. There's a saying about, it's always harder making the second Grammy award-winning album to follow up the first one, right? So I wonder if he can back up what he did in the pressure. I don't think City will be as bad this year as last year. And even teams like Man United and Spurs, I don't think those teams will be as bad. They won't be in the top 3, but I don't think they'll be as bad. And I think Spurs might take points off Liverpool. So and United too. So I think there's other teams that I think will be slightly better, which would mean teams like Arsenal you might now drop more points against Spurs or United. And I think the same is true of Liverpool as well. I don't know why people keep putting Chelsea in the title race. Why are people putting Chelsea in the title race? Why?
I think people look at their signings and they think they're gonna do a difference.
So hang on, is Delap and João Pedro and Delap, those are like title-winning signings?
They're looking at Javi Simmons and Joel Hara.
Come on. Like, those are good players. I would have taken as a second striker, I'd have taken Delap and João Pedro. I like those guys.
Yeah.
We're chatting about Isac, Gyökeres, and Haaland, and you're bringing up Delap and João Pedro. People have just lost their minds. Never mind the fact of they've got Sanchez in goal. So they buy a goalkeeper. I'm not taking Chelsea. Chelsea will finish top 4. All this title talk is mad for me. Everyone's getting excited by signings, all these fancy European signings. But look at who they're buying. They're good players. These aren't Premier League winning players.
Yeah. Maybe you're right. I don't know. We'll see. People are saying, there might be. I know we've touched on this in the first couple of questions, but your final take, yes or no? Do Arsenal win a major trophy this season?
Well, if we're defining a major trophy, Premier League or Champions League, I think they've got a squad that could win the Champions League. That wouldn't surprise me. As it stands right now, with the squad that we've got at the point of recording, Premier League, no.
So more chances at the Champions League than the Premier League?
I think so, because I think the Champions League is more about luck. I think it's the luck of the draw. I think there's a lot more variables that can go your way or go against you that I don't think the Premier League has. I think over 38 games, I don't think Arsenal have the best squad in the league. In fact, they don't have the best squad in the league. They don't have the best manager in the league. So you're asking a team that doesn't have the best manager in the league or the best team in the league to win the league. You've got to overperform significantly to beat the team that's got a better squad than you and a better manager than you. And I think Pep and Liverpool are the better squad and better manager. So to come above both of those two things, and it ain't like Slot's not a good manager, and it ain't like City haven't got a good squad. I think City will struggle this year. Well, struggle as far as I think it'll be us and Liverpool top 2 again. I do, but I don't think City are going to be. I think City will start really well, and I think they'll tail off. But no, I don't think Arsenal. As things stand, I don't think Arsenal win the title. No.
Let's hope they'll prove you wrong, and
100%.
everybody else. Uh, Jordan, where can people find or follow your work? Because I know you have a lot of places, so
Yeah,
maybe.
man. So they can catch me on Channel 4 News here in the UK. I'm
Yeah.
the sports correspondent for Channel 4 News. If you're an Arsenal head or a football head, you can catch me twice a week on Fourever Arsenal, on AFTV. We're on all audio platforms and YouTube. So me, Turkish League, the judge,
James.
and James. The four of us do it. Yeah, twice a week we do a pod. We have a laugh. We argue. They're often wrong. I'm often right. But we love each other. They're my boys. They're my guys. So check me out there. But I've also got my own separate platform called The Call is Disabled. So anybody's interested in disability, if you've got a relative or a friend who's disabled, I've got my own podcast called it's on all handles as The Coolest. It's called Jordan Jarrett-Bryan's The World's Coolest Disabled. So go and check it out on Instagram. We're on TikTok and we're on YouTube. So it's called at The Coolest. So I'm across there. Or hit me up my socials. Hit me up on Instagram. It's just my name, Jordan Jarrett-Bryan. Come be a friend.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Jordan. Thanks for being on the pod today. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your thoughts. Now, beyond your Arsenal coverage, as you mentioned, I've been impressed by how you've used your platforms across TV and media to bring awareness and important stories and inspire others. It's really commendable. Looking forward to seeing all the great things you do next, and hopefully we'll have you back soon.
Anytime, bro.
Thanks again, Jordan.
Thank you,
all
man.
the best, man.
Cheers. You too.